Ida for refusing to give my stepwife's son half the money I saved from my own son's paychecks. Tyler didn't know how much I was saving. He just knew that a chunk of every paycheck disappeared into some mysterious withholding I claimed was for emergency taxes. He rolled his eyes every time I said it, but he never pushed too hard. Maybe because he trusted me. Or maybe because, at 17, he was too tired to argue after a long night delivering pizzas and avoiding potholes in the rain. My name is Mark. I'm 42 years old and a paramedic in Westchester, New York. The kind of job that keeps you half awake most of your life and waiting for a call that might wreck your day. I've been married to Jenna for 10 years now. We both had kids from previous relationships. Tyler's my biological son, and Cody, 19, is her son from her first marriage. They live under the same roof, but that's about all they share. Jenna and I don't fight loud, but we fight often. Quiet, cold arguments that stretch over days, sometimes weeks. Lately, money has been the silent war. It's not that we're broke, far from it, but we see it differently. She believes in letting the boys enjoy their youth. I believe in preparing for what's coming, because life has a way of knocking you flat when you're not ready. That's why I've been stashing away 30% of Tyler's earnings in a separate account. He knows something's being taken out. He just thinks it's going into some general household fund. The truth is, I'm saving up for his first motorbike. Not a toy, a real machine. He's been dreaming about one since he was 14, taping pictures of dirt bikes to the fridge door like other kids post pictures of celebrities. Jenna knows about the fund, but she doesn't like it. If Cody wants a bike, are you going to save for him too? She asked me one night as we lay in bed, both staring at our phones. I didn't answer right away. We'd had that conversation before. The short version, I'd encouraged her to help Cody do the same. She waved it off every time. He's not you, she'd say. He doesn't think like that. He just wants to live his life. But Tyler did think like that. He's like me, quiet, focused, practical. He takes pride in earning his money, even if he complains when I take a chunk out of it. And maybe that's why I felt responsible. I wanted to give him a start in life, something that belonged to him, something he earned and I helped protect. Still, every time I made a transfer into that savings account, I felt the tension tightening around our house. Cody would leave plates in the sink and slam doors like punctuation marks. Jenna would mention how Cody's just feeling left out in that voice that was really just a warning. And me, I'd pretend not to notice. I'd smile at Tyler when he came home from work, tell him dinner was in the microwave, and quietly check the balance in the fund that no one else believed in. I didn't know how long I could keep it up. I just knew that when the time came, Tyler would have his motorbike. And maybe, just maybe, he'd know that I'd been looking out for him all along. I waited until a Sunday afternoon. The house was quiet. Jenna was prepping dinner in the kitchen, and Cody was in the garage messing with his skateboard wheels. Tyler had just come back from his shift, sweaty and slumped on the couch, thumbing through his phone. "Hey," I said, leaning on the back of the couch. "You got a minute?" He looked up, eyes tired but curious. "Yeah, what's up?" I tossed him a folded piece of paper, the most recent statement from the savings account. He opened it slowly, squinting at the numbers. "Wait, what is this?" "That's yours," I said. "Been setting aside part of your paychecks, plus a little extra from me here and there. Figured you'd want to do something with it soon." He blinked, staring at the total, just over $4,000. "No way," he whispered, and then louder, "No freaking way." I smiled. "You've been talking about that bike since you were a kid. Figured it was time you had a real shot at it." He jumped off the couch and hugged me hard. One of those quick, back-thumping hugs teenage boys only give when they forget to be embarrassed. "Thank you. Seriously, Dad. I don't even know what to say." "Say it again," I joked, ruffling his hair. "Just one more time. Thank you, Dad. I want to remember what it sounds like." He laughed and shook his head. All right, don't ruin the moment." We were still grinning when Cody walked in from the garage, wiping his hands on a rag. He looked at us and tilted his head. "What's going on?" Tyler was still holding the paper. "Dad's been saving for me. For a bike." Cody's face went flat. "Wait, like, with your money?" "Yeah," Tyler said. But he added to it. "It's like a whole fund." I had no idea. Cody turned to me, eyes narrowing. "So you've been saving for him this whole time and didn't say anything?" I kept my voice even. "I talked to Jenna about it a while back. I tried to get her to do something similar with you." He snorted. "Right. So you give Tyler a bike fund and I get what? Gas money and leftovers." Jenna must have overheard because she came out of the kitchen, wiping her hands on a dish towel. "Cody, come on. Don't start." "No," Cody said louder now. "It's obvious. You've always favored him. And now he gets a freaking motorbike savings account while I'm paying for my own crap with tips from pizza delivery." Jenna looked at me like I'd set a fire in the middle of the living room. "Mark, seriously? You couldn't tell me you were revealing this today. I didn't plan it, I said. It just felt like the right time. Well, now it's not, she snapped. You should have thought this through. You knew this would upset Cody. I folded my arms. I told you when I started the fund. You didn't want to do the same for him. Because he didn't ask for one, she said. Because he's not Tyler. Tyler stood there, holding the paper like it had just turned radioactive. I didn't mean to cause a fight. You didn't, I said quickly, shooting a glance at Jenna. You didn't do anything wrong. But the air was heavy now. The kind of silence that comes after someone says what they've been holding in for too long. Cody looked like he wanted to say more, but instead he stormed upstairs, muttering something about favorites and bullshit. And just like that, a moment I'd been waiting for, something good, something pure, turned into a battle line. Tyler sat down again, quieter now. Did I mess everything up? I shook my head. You did everything right. But I couldn't say the same for the rest of us. It was just after midnight when Jenna finally cornered me in the kitchen. I was washing up a coffee mug I hadn't even used, just to have something to do. She came in with that tight-lipped look, arms crossed, like she was holding back an explosion. You're not being fair, she said. I kept scrubbing. To who? To Cody, she snapped. To this family. You're supposed to be a partner, not just Tyler's dad. I turned off the faucet and dried my hands, slowly. You want to talk about fair? Let's talk about how I asked you a year ago to start saving for Cody, and you said it wasn't necessary, that he wasn't wired that way. Because he isn't, she said, walking closer. He's not like Tyler. He's not disciplined. He doesn't think 5 years ahead. He's trying to survive today, not plan for some fantasy future. Then maybe that's exactly why he needed the support, I said. But you didn't want to hear that. Her jaw clenched. You knew this would drive a wedge. No, I said, voice low. The wedge was already there. You just didn't want to see it. She stepped back, her arms dropping to her sides. His tuition isn't even covered. We've been trying to figure out how to make it work. And meanwhile, you're sneaking off, saving thousands for Tyler to buy a toy. That's not a toy, I said. It's a goal. And for the record, Tyler's tuition is covered by my parents. That wasn't my doing. Exactly, she said. Which means you could have used that money for Cody's tuition instead. I stared at her. You think I should take Tyler's hard-earned money, his tips, his late-night deliveries, his savings, and give it to Cody? You could have balanced it. You could have made it fair. No, I said firmly. I made it honest. That money belongs to Tyler. All I did was protect it. She walked toward the counter and leaned on it, eyes shiny now. You think I haven't tried with Cody? You think it's easy? He's not like your perfect little Tyler. He doesn't make life easy. That's not the point, I said. This isn't about easy. This is about what's right. And you had every chance to build something for Cody. But you didn't help me, she shot back. You focused on your son. Always him. I exhaled slowly, pressing my palm to the cool surface of the counter. I was trying to show him someone had his back. Silence settled in the room. Then, almost as an afterthought, she muttered, my sister says you're creating division. There it was, her family, weighing in from the sidelines, fanning the flames. I looked up. Let them talk. They haven't lived in this house. They haven't watched you dismiss everything I tried to do for both boys. Her voice dropped, sharp and cold. You've made your choice. Don't act surprised when it starts tearing everything apart. She left the room then, quiet as a door closing for good. I stood there, staring out the window into the dark, wondering how many more cracks this house could take before it finally split open. It was a Thursday night when I overheard her on the phone. I'd come home late, still wearing my work boots, mud crusted to the sides. The house was quiet except for Jenna's voice echoing from the guest room. She didn't know I was back yet. No, we're not there yet, she was saying, her tone low and sharp. But I swear, if he doesn't agree to give Cody that money, I'll find a way to shift it. There's no reason Tyler should be the only one benefiting. Mark doesn't get to play favorites. Not in this house. My stomach dropped. She paused, listening. Then, yeah, or we tell his parents Cody needs tuition money. That might push him into it. They do anything for Tyler. They'll probably cave just to keep the peace. I didn't need to hear more. I backed out of the hallway before she spotted me and went straight to the garage. Sat there in the dark, door cracked open for air, trying to breathe through the red in my vision. She wasn't just upset. She was planning, strategizing, trying to use my son's future, his own work, his own savings as a bargaining chip. By the time I walked back inside, she was in the kitchen like nothing had happened, stirring a pot of soup that smelled like nothing at all. I leaned on the doorframe. How long have you been trying to twist this? She turned around slowly. Excuse me. I heard you. Talking to your sister. Trying to figure out how to shift Tyler's savings to Cody, or guilt my parents into footing another bill. Her eyes narrowed. You were eavesdropping? I stepped closer. Don't change the subject. You crossed a line. That money should be shared, she snapped. Cody deserves just as much as Tyler. But you're too blind to see that. It's not my money, I said. It's Tyler's. I protected it. I encouraged it. You never once tried to do the same for Cody. She slammed the spoon onto the counter. Because Cody didn't have anyone looking out for him. Whose fault is that? I shouted. That's when Cody came down the stairs, already tense, like he'd been listening for a while. What's going on now? He asked. Jenna turned to him, face already red, voice trembling. We're just trying to make things fair. Fair, Cody said, looking at me. So I don't get anything, and Tyler gets a whole savings fund behind my back? You knew about the withholding, I said. You knew I encouraged Jenna to do something similar for you. She didn't want to. Jenna snapped. Don't you dare pin this on me. Cody stepped forward. You've never treated me like your real kid. I froze. That's not true. He laughed bitterly. Yeah? Then why do I always come second? Because you never let me in, I said, trying to keep my voice from breaking. Every time I offered to help, to support you, you brushed me off. You didn't want me acting like a dad. Now suddenly I'm the villain for not doing enough. Tyler gets everything, Cody said. Even when I'm working too. You never saved for me. You never cared. I shook my head. That's not true. It is, Jenna said, stepping beside him. And if you want to fix this, you'll buy Cody the same motorbike. Exact same one. I blinked at her. You're serious. Dead serious. No. I said, flat and firm. I'm not buying equality with guilt. I did what was right with what I had. You had the same chance. Her eyes went cold. Then we're done here. She stormed off. Cody followed. 15 minutes later, I heard drawers slamming, bags zipping. Jenna emerged from the hallway with her suitcase and Cody right behind her. You'll regret this, she said as she passed me. I didn't answer. The door slammed shut behind them, and in the sudden quiet, all I felt was a strange, hollow relief, like the tension had finally cracked wide open, and something had finally let go. The silence in the house was loudest that first night. It wasn't the peaceful kind, either. It was the kind that crept into the walls, like something missing had left behind a cold draft. No footsteps from Cody stomping upstairs. No Jenna flipping channels until she passed out on the couch. Just me, sitting at the kitchen table with a mug of coffee that had gone cold twice. I finally picked up the phone and called my cousin Ray. He's a real estate lawyer in Albany. We hadn't spoken much in recent years, only birthdays and the occasional family barbecue. But I needed clarity. I needed someone who wouldn't sugarcoat things. He picked up on the second ring. Mark? Wow, been a while. Yeah, I said. Sorry to drop this on you, but I think I'm looking at a divorce, and I need to know what I'm walking into. There was a pause. Then Ray's voice turned serious. All right, first question. The house. It's in both your names. Yeah, bought it together 6 years ago. Then you're entitled to half the equity, no matter what. Unless there's a prenup or something you haven't mentioned. No prenup. Then legally, you're covered. You'll be okay. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Thanks. He hesitated. You sure about this, Mark? No chance it's just a fight that cools off in a week. I rubbed my temples. She tried to weaponize my parents. Cody called me nobody, and she walked out like it was just another errand. It's not a fight. It's the end. Ray didn't try to convince me otherwise. All right, I'll email you the first steps. When you're ready, just say the word. I hung up and stared at the blank wall across from me, the one Jenna always meant to decorate with family photos. Funny how that never happened. Later that night, Tyler came home from his shift. He looked around like he was walking into an empty house after a storm. Where are they? He asked. Gone, I said. Jenna and Cody took off yesterday. He looked stunned. Because of the bike thing? Because of everything. He sat down across from me, still in his work apron. Did I do this? I looked him straight in the eye. No, you didn't do anything wrong. But it all started when No, I said firmly. You worked hard. You earned something, and I just made sure it was there for you. That's not the problem. The problem was already here. We just didn't see it clearly until now. He nodded slowly. So what now? Now, I said, we get through this. We keep moving. And I promise you, whatever happens, you're going to be all right. Better than all right. His shoulders relaxed a little. Okay. That night, as I finally crawled into bed alone, I didn't feel peace exactly, but I did feel something like clarity. The marriage might be over, but for the first time in a long while, I knew exactly who I needed to protect, and I wasn't going to fail him. Not now. The call came on a Saturday morning, just as I was finishing up dishes. Tyler was still asleep upstairs, and for once, the house felt like it could breathe. Then my phone buzzed, and her name lit up the screen. Jenna. I let it ring twice before answering. Hello. Her voice was calm. Too calm. Mark, we need to talk. I dried my hands on a dish towel. I figured we said everything already. I'm willing to consider coming back, she said. But there are conditions. I almost laughed. You want to negotiate? Yes, she said plainly. If we're going to fix this, you're going to have to meet me halfway. I didn't respond, just waited. I've been thinking, she continued. If you want this marriage to survive, then you need to either buy Cody the same exact motorbike as Tyler or ask your parents to pay Cody's tuition. That's what fairness looks like. I stood there frozen, gripping the phone tighter. You're not serious. I'm completely serious. And you don't see how manipulative that sounds? I said slowly. It's not manipulation, she snapped. It's balance. You can't just do for one and leave the other out. I didn't just do for one. I gave you the chance to do the same for Cody. You ignored it. That's not the point, she shot back. The point is, now you have a chance to fix this. I shook my head. No. What you're doing is trying to punish me for doing the right thing for Tyler. You didn't want to put in the effort with Cody, and now you want a shortcut. He's your stepson, Mark. You act like he's just some tenant in the house. I've been treating him like a son for years, I said, even when he didn't want it. Even when he made it clear I'd never be good enough. You think money makes that relationship happen? You think buying him a bike is going to fix this? She paused, then said quietly, so that's a no? That's a hell no. She let out a breath. Then maybe there's nothing left to talk about. Maybe there isn't. Another silence passed. You know what this is really about, she said finally. It's about how you've never truly accepted Cody. You always kept him at arm's length. No, I said, my voice like ice. It's about control. You couldn't force me to raise both boys the same way because they're not the same. Tyler puts in the work. He listens. He tries. Cody pushes everyone away and then acts shocked when there's no reward waiting. Wow, she said. So you've already made your choice. I made it when you started scheming behind my back. When you thought guilt would get you what effort wouldn't. Her tone shifted, sharper now. You're going to regret this. When Cody ends up with nothing, when this family falls apart, just remember who made that decision. I didn't respond. I just ended the call. I stood there for a moment, staring at the quiet phone in my hand, like it might ring again. It didn't. And for the first time, I knew it didn't matter. Jenna had laid her cards on the table, and I was finally done playing. It was raining when she showed up. Gray sky, water streaking down the windows, thunder rumbling low in the distance. I was halfway through folding laundry when I heard the knock, not a tap, not timid, sharp, determined. I opened the door, and there she was, Jenna, standing on the porch like nothing had changed, hair pulled back, arms crossed, rain speckling her coat. Her face was unreadable, but her eyes, they looked desperate. We need to talk, she said. I stepped aside. Then talk. She walked in slowly, looking around the house like it was a stranger's place. It's quiet. Yeah, I said. It is. She stood near the entryway, arms still crossed. This doesn't have to be the end. I leaned against the wall, watching her. You made that decision pretty clear. I didn't mean for things to go so far, she said quickly. I got caught up. I was angry, okay? I didn't expect you to actually push me away. You gave me an ultimatum, Jenna. And maybe I was wrong to do that, she admitted, her voice cracking a little. But we've been through worse, haven't we? I didn't answer. She took a step closer. We can fix this. For real. If you just let go of the whole motorbike thing and make things even between the boys. No, I said, cutting her off. We're not doing this again. Her mouth tightened. Mark, I came here because I still believe in us. No, I repeated, calmer this time. You came here because things didn't go your way. Because your plan to guilt me, to twist my parents into it, didn't work. And now that everything's slipping, you're scrambling. That's not true, she said. But she didn't sound sure. I stood by you for years, I said. I tried to be a father to Cody. I tried to be a partner. But you didn't want that. You wanted someone to fix things the way you saw fit. And when I didn't fall in line, suddenly I was the enemy. I just wanted it to be fair, she said quietly. Fair. I took a step forward. You took my son's hard work and tried to turn it into a bargaining chip. You didn't ask. You didn't suggest. You schemed. And then you walked out without even blinking. She opened her mouth, but I wasn't done. You said I'd regret this? Let me tell you something, I don't. Not for a second. Because when you walked out that door, I realized something. I've been fighting to keep something alive that was already dead. Her face hardened. So that's it? You're just giving up? No, I said. I'm finally letting go. She stared at me for a long moment, like she was searching for the version of me she used to control. The one who apologized, who bent over backwards to keep the peace. But that man was gone. You're selfish, she hissed. You think you're noble, but all you care about is your pride. I didn't flinch. No, I care about my son. And I care about not being manipulated anymore. She stepped back, shaking her head. You're going to regret this, Mark. You'll be alone. I'd rather be alone than live in that kind of chaos. She stormed past me toward the door. Don't come crawling back when Cody wants nothing to do with you. I never crawled to begin with. The door slammed behind her with a sharp crack, and just like that, the storm outside didn't feel quite so heavy anymore. I stood in the quiet, breathing in the stillness. No Cody yelling, no arguments, no guilt hanging in the air. Just me. And for once, that was enough. The divorce papers came on a Thursday. A neat envelope slid into my mailbox, no surprises left in it. Just signatures, notarizations, and a final date stamped across the top. I held it in my hand for a full minute, standing on the porch in my hoodie and slippers, the morning sun starting to warm the concrete. It should have felt heavy, but it didn't. It felt like air. That weekend, I packed up the last of Jenna's things, what she hadn't already taken with her, and dropped them at her sister's house. Cody didn't say a word. I didn't expect him to. Maybe someday he'll want to talk. Maybe not. That part's not mine to control anymore. Tyler helped me move the boxes. He didn't ask questions. He didn't say much. But that night, after we grilled burgers and watched some dumb action movie on cable, he leaned back on the couch and said, "You okay?" I nodded. "Yeah, I actually think I am." We sat in the quiet for a while, both of us chewing on the silence, the kind that comes when things are finally starting to settle. "I was worried," he said, "that it was my fault." I turned to him. "It wasn't. It never was. You know that, right?" "I know," he said. I saw everything fall apart after you showed me the savings. And I kept thinking maybe if I hadn't said anything." I shook my head. "You were happy. That's what made them upset. Not the money, not the bike. Just the idea that I chose to support you without needing their permission." He let that sink in. "You still planning to get the bike?" I asked after a pause. He smiled. "Yeah, but I might wait until after the snow clears. I've been looking at used models online. I'll help you check them out," I said. "We'll find the right one." The next few weeks came like a slow thaw. I started taking care of things I'd been putting off, cleaning out the garage, fixing the sagging fence out back, deleting Jenna's old streaming profiles one by one. Each task was a step out of the old life and into something new. I started sleeping better, eating better, even found time to call a few old buddies from my EMT class and meet up for coffee. They said I looked different. I felt it too. And then there was Emily. We met through a friend of a friend. She ran a small cafe a few towns over, all chalkboard menus and homemade pastries. I stopped in one morning after a late shift, mostly for the strong coffee. She made a joke about my perpetual exhaustion look, and I said something halfway charming in return. She laughed, and it didn't feel forced. Over the next few weeks, I kept coming back, sometimes just for the coffee, sometimes not. One Friday afternoon, Tyler came with me. He shook her hand, gave her one of his awkward, polite smiles, and then raised his eyebrows at me behind her back when she wasn't looking. Later in the truck, he said, "She's cool. You seem happy." "I am," I said. He looked out the window for a while, then said, "You think it's weird, starting over this fast?" I shrugged. "I think it's better than staying stuck." He nodded slowly. "Yeah, I get that." That night, we grilled again, just the two of us, and talked about road trips, places he might ride his bike once spring came. I told him I'd follow behind in the truck, just in case. He rolled his eyes but grinned. The house was quiet, but this time, the silence felt like peace. A new chapter, and we were ready for it.